Dawn, I am so excited to have you on the show. I mean, we had a very dear mutual friend introduce us. And as soon as we were introduced, I was like, oh, she's my people, And
I felt the same way about you. I'm like,
oh,
"Oh, where have you been? Where have you
right.
been?"
Where have you
Right?
been my whole life?
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. And I love what you said right before we went live when we were talking about topics. You said, well, I can talk about anything and everything about money.
Mhm.
And I love that because
Yes.
women, we're not talking about money enough.
Yes.
We don't dig into it enough. There's so much fear around it. And I know we could dive deep with you because, well, let's do this first. And then I'm going to ask you the question. Will you give me kind of what you're doing currently in the world, your background, how you came to be what you're doing in the world? I would love I just love to know people's stories.
Absolutely. And why we're at where we are today, right?
Yes.
So, I have been a wealth advisor for the last 23 years. So I've been sitting one-on-one with clients, helping them build their financial plans, managing their assets, minimizing their taxes, like
Hmm.
anything and everything related to money in terms of the technical advice.
Yeah.
And and I've spent so much time. In fact, I've been in 10,000 different client meetings. That's a lot. So you start to
Wow.
recognize behaviors, you
Yes.
recognize how, not just how money like physically works,
Hmm.
but the like how people react to their money. And I was like,
Yes.
gosh, we're missing the boat on the advice we give to clients because I would help clients, build their portfolios from
Hmm.
almost zero to seven figures. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, why aren't why are these people still having this fear based relationship
Mm.
with money? Like it's never enough. Like they would still go
Yeah.
to Trader Joe's to buy
Yeah.
their $2 Chuck wine. And
Yes.
I'm like, you're paying more for Advil than
Yeah.
you are the
Yeah.
next day for your headache than you are like just upgrading your wine. Like, why are you not embracing the money that
Yes.
you've built? And so I started to figure, I need to
Mm.
deliver financial advice differently because people need this help. Because I'm telling you,
Mm. So good.
at any wealth level, I don't care if you are like have nothing or you have $1 billion,
Yeah.
we all still have this negative relationship where it's not enough.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I'm
Yes.
helping
I
people
can
figure that out.
totally relate.
Mhm.
And you're speaking my language. And so that's the direction I was thinking about taking this in because, like you just said, this incredible background that you have, we could dive deep into financial planning and strategic management of, all of that. But what I really want to come at first, because I think you have to have a conversation around it's really the mindset around money, your relationship with money, the fears and the stories that we grew up with and how they're playing a part in our money story today. So where in the world do we begin? Right? Because there's kind of two things happening here. I think especially for women in business, because that's kind of my circle of influence, there are women that are scared to even go, have a financial meeting. Like they're terrified to set up that call or that meeting where they're going to walk in and talk to some scary guy that's going to talk to them about their finances. But also, they're not doing the work either
Mhm.
around the inside stuff with money.
Or the outside stuff with money too.
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah. So first of all, I think us women, we compare. We're creatures of
Mm-hmm.
comparison, and I think it's really hard that every single client that I've been in a meeting with, they all think they have less than my other clients.
Mm,
And so I think women are fearful about going in to have a meeting with an advisor because they don't think they have enough. They
right.
don't think they need an advisor, or they're really afraid to get under the hood and that emotional
Yeah.
baggage that we all carry. Like, I'm I gotta confess, like I'm in my fifth decade of living.
No, you're
And
not.
oh,
No,
I
you're
am.
not. When you
Yes.
said something about 23 years, I'm like, did you start
Yeah,
college when
no.
you were 5?
No, it's called Botox filler. Come on, I have money to do all of the above.
Yes, yes, I
So,
love it.
yes, and I take care of myself internally and externally,
Yes.
of course. And that's the same way you build wealth, by the way, internal and
Mm,
external, with the way you build
yes,
health, wealth, everything in life.
yes,
But,
yes.
what I found is that us women, we always think we're less than, and we carry all this emotional baggage. Like, I'm
Mm,
50 and I should be farther ahead than I am
right,
today. And so we just kind of like push it on the background, like, I'll get to it tomorrow. And then,
right.
who wants to spend time grabbing all your documents and getting them all
Right.
organized. I mean, if I could literally turn this camera around right now, you would see the hot mess that I am because
Oh, same.
I got
Same.
shit all over the place. My husband's like, "Would you clean up your stuff?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, but I'm on to the next thing already, you know? I don't want to
Yes.
clean up that." But us women, especially successful entrepreneurial executive women, leaders, we and that are managing families and businesses,
Mhm.
it's really hard to take the time
Yes.
to take a half a day and look for all your statements and get all the things together to
Mhm.
help you get onto the right track. But I'm here to tell
Right.
you this is that I always, I love to compare. Well, you're a healthy woman too, of what I've read
Mhm.
and saw about you.
Yes.
But like, how so I'm comparing health and wealth. So
Yes.
health for you and I mean, it's a constant, right? We have to constantly deliver and go to the gym and eat healthy. It's a
Mhm.
day-to-day constant battle if you want to be healthy.
Yes.
And wealth is different. So I always tell people, I know it sucks. I know it sucks to go get your statements together and all that kind of stuff, but it's a one time deal where if you put
Yeah.
in the work today, you don't have to go to the gym every day. You put in the
Right.
work now and you build your plan. And then through
Yes.
compounding and growth, your money starts working for you versus you
Mm.
working for it. And
Yes.
it's so
Yes.
important. So, like,
Ugh.
it's just
And
like
that one time,
the one
if you
time.
find the right person,
Yes.
that's a game changer too, right?
Yes.
Because my husband and I work with our person, and I didn't expect, when I was dreading this meeting and
Mhm.
like, he's looking through everything and we're talking
Yeah.
about the whole kit and caboodle, and I was like, oh good God, how long is this going to take? And it was a life plan. It wasn't what's best on paper. It's tell me what's important to you. Tell me what you value in life. And I was like, this is kind of cool because it's like life coaching, and
It
it
is.
was this beautiful thing that I don't even think people realize exists because it doesn't exist everywhere,
Mhm.
but there are people, financial planners, wealth management companies that you can go to that look at the whole thing and not
Yes.
just the numbers,
And
right?
I absolutely, and
And I'm
by the
sure
way,
that's what you're doing.
well, yes, and I'm so happy that you have somebody that
Mm,
does that because you know, it's so important. Most advisors that are doing comprehensive advising,
mhm.
there's people that do comprehensive and there's people that just start investing your money. But
Right.
even wealth advisors that are doing comprehensive planning, most of the time they're just looking at what do you want to achieve with your financial
Mhm.
goals. And if you really take a step back, it's like, you know what? We all kind of have similar goals.
Yeah.
We all want money for emergencies. We want to protect our families. We want to be able to be financially independent and retire someday. We want to make sure that our investments are performing. We want to
Mhm.
be able to maybe give to charity or buy a new car or give our kids a opportunity to go to college. Like we all have similar goals.
Yes. Yes.
But the difference is when it sounds like you had this experience too, where you're wrapping the total well-being of a human being
Yes.
and their
Yes.
values, their mission, their
Right.
purpose, their,
Yes.
everything. When
Yeah.
you wrap all of that around to aligning that to how you're building your wealth,
Yeah.
that's when you can finally arrive
Right.
at what's enough.
Right. And just like you said, the person, that has built millions of dollars of wealth and then they're still going to Trader Joe's for their $2 chuck. I love that you said that.
Right.
We had a similar experience with our guy. I'm just going to say our guy.
Mhm.
And it was an investment, a crazy amount of money for a dock. And on paper, it looked not smart, right? And it's like, we can't spend this much money on a dock. And it was so interesting because we went to him and I'm like, he's going to say no way. And he was like, this is what you told me was most important to you. This is what you want for your children. And I was like, he's like a therapist too,
It is.
And so he was able to advise us from a value standpoint, not from what was best. He was able to explain, this means this X, Y, and Z on paper for your future, but he encouraged us to take that leap of faith and
Yeah.
purchase that because it mattered to us. And it's like, it's that tricky balance between kind of saving it all and investing it all and not living in the process to what
Absolutely.
one day hopefully live 30, 40 years from now. Who knows if we're going to even be here, but there is a balance, right?
There is a balance, there's an alignment. Like I always say, I get so frustrated when people just save their money for
Yeah.
tomorrow and they're not living for today, because
Yes.
you can do both. You literally can still live for today and spend guilt-free
Mm-hmm.
and save for tomorrow if you properly plan with your values. But what's the key secret is really like, it's really about how do you minimize your tax bill?
Yeah.
Because when you really look at your biggest expenses in life, taxes being one of them, how do you learn all of the tools necessary
Mm-hmm.
to minimize your taxes that frees up your money so you can
Mm-hmm.
live for today? I mean, I've done
Right.
so many financial plans where I've literally had people be in a position where they don't have to give up to their today. Whether their monthly net income was $10,000 a month or 15,000 or even it doesn't matter, right? Whatever the number was, I could get them and start saving into their retirement plan. And when they start saving, the tax dollars they're saving actually
Mm-hmm.
makes up for any income that they would have today.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
if you
Right.
plan, if
Right.
you mirror the technical advice and the psychology, like the behavioral
Mm.
advice together, like that's when life gets magical, and you need
Yeah.
both. And I'm so happy to hear that
Mm.
you've had that experience too.
Yeah. Yeah. We have. It's been really great. Tell me this, because this is probably a question I bet a lot of my audience is wondering.
Okay.
And it's probably different, at different stages on the path. But at what point, income wise or wealth wise, do you seek the outside advice of a financial planner or wealth advisor?
Great question. I'm the CEO of my investment firm.
Hmm.
And in how it works right now is that you had to have the income didn't matter. You had to have at least $1 million of
Hmm.
investable assets to come into our firm because we're CFPs. We have,
Right.
we do our clients' taxes, we do everything.
Everything. Yeah.
However, over the last 4 years, I kept saying to myself, like, why am I giving advice to millionaires when the people that really need the help
Right.
are the non-millionaires?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was like, why am I
The
sitting here?
people that are struggling to get to the millionaires
Right. And
point.
they
Yeah.
have, I'm telling you, if they just learn a few things,
Hmm.
that they can become millionaires too. It's like nobody's special that's a millionaire. It's just
Yeah.
that they did the right thing and they had their money work hard for them. So,
Yes.
so what I've done over the last 4 years is I've opened up a digital platform where people can get the fiduciary advice. So that means
Mm.
like you're working with someone that's not going to sell you a product and make a commission
Right.
off of you.
Right. Right.
Fiduciary, CFP, CFAs, you get the highest credential team available to you to give you the advice that you need to grow your portfolio. And I've done it in a way that's can open the doors up for those non-millionaires. And I that was
Yeah.
like my biggest passion in life, because
Oh,
I'm like,
I
why am I
love
sitting
that.
here? I'm helping the millionaire become the 3 millionaire and the three
Right.
millionaire become the 10. Like
Yeah.
I kind of lost my I mean, I love the people, don't get me wrong.
Right.
I
But your
love
heart for it, because you're helping the elite become more elite. And it's like
correct.
when in any service position, when we want to serve other people, it's just by nature that we want to serve the ones that are struggling,
We do.
and that
Yes.
is just such life-giving work.
Well, it is, and I think part of the reason too is, I have two teenage daughters,
Mhm.
17 and 19, and I start looking at, ooh, they need to own their worth, and they need to build their wealth, and they need to stand up for what they believe in, and they need to go after life,
Mhm.
and I need to teach them that. And I'm like, they don't have access to me. They're going to have access to somebody sitting at a bank
Right.
that wants to make a commission off of them, and I'm like, no, 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 no. So I think it was kind of me
Yeah.
observe, like listening to my clients too, and listening to what they wanted. They wanted their kids to get help from us. And
Mhm.
I'm like, well, I want my own kids, so
Right.
I think that's probably part of the catalyst that started it.
Yes.
But it's true. I'm like, why am I helping people that already have money?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love those people, but I also want to
Right.
help more. I
Right.
want
Well,
to
it's
help
like
more.
me back in the day when I was more involved with just health and nutrition, fitness and nutrition. It's the same thing as me helping the fit people. It's like, it's fun and I don't love you any less, but I really want to help the people that are struggling, that don't have the answers yet. Just like you're
Right.
saying, they just
Yeah.
need to learn some simple things that can change everything. So
Yeah.
you touched on something that, and I want to talk about your book that's launching because
Okay.
that's a big deal.
Yes.
So I would love for you to kind of go into how that's laid out and what's in there. But you said something that I know is probably a piece of the book, your worth,
Mm-hmm.
knowing your worth. And I think that can be a vague topic for people where, we hear it kind of thrown around all the time. But what does that mean to you? And is there a process that you bring people through? Because I'm a real process girl. Like, okay, I want to find my worth. Now tell me what to do because
Yes,
it's too esoteric to just try to find your worth out there. So
it
how do you go
is.
about that?
Well, first of all, why building wealth and worth is so important to me, and that is what the book is about. But it's because I watched my mother die pretty much in front of my eyes because of a lack
Mm,
of worth. She was an alcoholic who numbed
mm,
her pain through her drinking, and it's
yeah.
because she didn't love herself enough.
Yeah.
And you as a child watching a mother go through that, you start
Mm,
taking on, like, I've never been an alcoholic, but you start to take on some of those insecurities and
yes.
anxieties, and it's like, oh, so I was seeing I
Mm,
had my own worth issue. I realized clients did too, and I'm like, we need to figure this out because worth and wealth together is freaking amazing. So
yes.
the process,
Yes.
the
Yes. Give me the
process,
process.
the process. So the book is called Live Wealthy.
Spell that
W
for me.
Yeah, can you see? It's WELL
I love it.
THY. So because it's the intersection of worth and wealth combined. So what
Oh,
I have
so
people
beautiful.
do, I have people go through a process to build their worth.
Mm,
It's the process is own it, and the book is about own it, own your worth,
hmm.
earn your wealth, grow your life. But
Oh,
I believe the biggest thing about owning your worth, like, how do you really, like you were saying,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
how do you own your worth? How do you
Yeah.
build that worth? And it's really two things. It's about being able to control
I'm taking
your
notes.
it's about being able to control your thinking,
Mm,
managing your emotions, because we can't control our emotions. Like, if you're a hot mess, you're a hot mess, but you can
right.
manage them, right? So, but it's controlling your thinking and it's managing your emotions,
Mm,
which helps you deal with life challenges. We have
yes.
challenges every single day of our life, but how we react and respond to life
Is
helps us
everything. Yeah.
build our worth. And I'm telling you, the worth to me equals self esteem.
Yeah.
Like, you got it. And how do you build your self-esteem is
Right.
really about going through the shit storms of life and getting
Yes.
on the other side and going, "Ooh, I made a good decision and I got through
Yeah.
it. I faced my fears. I faced my insecurity. I faced all of this stuff, but I still freaking did it." And when I
Yes.
did it, when you go through the pain and you go through the challenge and the conflicts and the disappointments and all of the stuff that we all deal with, when you go through it the right way and in a productive way,
Hmm.
you get to that other side and you're like, wow, I was able to think differently
Yeah.
and I reacted to life differently. And that
Yes.
is how you build your worth.
Oh, I love it, Dawn. I love it so much. So that's a lot of the work that I do is really bringing the attention to the good, like giving ourselves credit because we dismiss it so quickly, right? We don't turn around and say, wow, I'm actually proud of myself for how I handled that, how I reacted to that. And so much of my work, stems in the thoughts. Like when we can change our thinking, we can control our emotions,
Yes.
and the outcome from there is just a wildly different life. And it's so interesting. And now I know why we're like, where have you been my
Sisters.
whole life?
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I am a recovering alcoholic.
Okay.
And so that plays a part, but also
Yeah.
more importantly, the connection here is my mom was not an alcoholic, but I think generationally that a lot of women our age can probably look to their mothers and say that generation was just, there
Hard.
was hard and
Yes.
really such an an unworthiness that just kind of cloaked that generation. And my mom kind of from the outside looking in was a hard ass, right? She's a German Navy nurse, raised 6 kids, so she got shit done.
Hmm.
And so I always questioned in my 20s, especially into my early 30s, like, why do I have such low self-esteem? Like, and I would look at that, parent, relationship. And I think my mom was such a hard ass, a badass. but intrinsically there was a, I'm not worthy.
Absolutely.
I
And that's,
mean,
yeah.
that was so, and so I really understood that we don't, as children, necessarily do what we, take the words or whatever our parents are teaching us or preaching to us or how they're raising us. What we end up modeling later in life is how they were, just
Yes.
what they had on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that my mother's never thought she's worth a manicure, makeup or just anything like that. And I thought I took that on, and
Absolutely.
it's something that, just like you said, there's work to be done to step into that. But I also want to say, and you and I are proof of this, and I talk about proof a lot, that you can change that. You can radically change that like 180 degrees.
Absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
in your complete control because it's just
Yes.
literally it's exercising your brain just like you exercise
Yes.
your body every day. You exercise your brain every day.
Yeah.
And we're no different. Like we're living proof that it can happen,
Mm-hmm.
but we all have this beautiful gift of a brain and
Yeah.
we all have the same opportunities to change it.
Yes. Do you know John Assaraf's work?
Yes, love him.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. So this is just
Mhm.
bringing that up for me, right? He
Yes,
talks a lot
yes.
about brain training, and he actually refers to his work as inner size instead of
Yes.
exercise, which I
Yep.
love. And he talks a
Absolutely.
lot about rewriting that story. And
Yep.
it's just time spent, but not too much time. I mean, we could spend 10 minutes a day. I always say if I've got a 30-minute window and, I'm tight on time, I will choose the brain work every single day of the week over the exercise. The exercise will come the next day,
Yep.
but it's my thinking and how I'm showing up in the world that's going to dictate the current 24 hours. And so I've got to get this straight before I worry about my biceps or my quads, whatever it
Yes,
is.
absolutely. Because when you get this straight, then you want to go exercise your
Right.
biceps too, right? Yeah. So,
Right.
yeah, but it's so important. But I think, especially for women, we are emotional creatures, and that's a beautiful
Mhm.
thing. But
Yeah.
it's like realizing that whether we're masking our emotions with alcohol or being a hard
Mhm.
ass, I mean, that was just your mom's defensive
Right.
mechanism
Right.
for how she
Yeah.
was raised,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
a side note, our beliefs about ourself and our wealth and our beliefs about our money are formed by the time we're age freaking 6 years old.
Wow.
So think about that. So before you could even
Wow.
like flip and tie your shoe, you're already going like I have a belief about money, and we learn that through the actions of our
Yeah.
parents
Yeah.
who learn that from the depression of their
Right.
parents that what
Mhm.
so retraining the brain is so vitally important. Like I say, we can control our thinking. That is one thing that we can
Yes.
control in life. We can't control our emotions, but we can control how we react to
Yes.
the anxiety or depression or
Mhm.
whatever. We can control that through breathing and through, so
Mhm.
many different things. But, that's the beauty how like this personal development in your mind relates to money because it's the same thing.
Mhm.
You guys, growing money, like physically compound, like putting your money to work for you is like the
Yeah.
easiest thing
Well,
ever.
and I love that you just went there because that's what I was just thinking. And as you were talking earlier, I kept thinking, I don't think that, let's say the woman that's making $100,000 a year, there's a lot of them out there. I
Mhm.
don't think that they understand because we are also in this culture of, hustle, 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 hustle. And I'm not saying anti-hustle because I am kind of against that that wave of thought as well. Like we do have to work hard, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But we think that to make it to the next income level, we just have to grind more and put more hours in and work harder. You can put your money to work for you and generate more revenue, more income, more wealth, not working more hours.
Right. Absolutely. You cannot get to a point of my version of wealth, the
Mhm.
WELL, or the version of the other wealth, the WEAL. You can't get to that wealth level without having your money work for you. Like
Right.
putting your money in a diversified portfolio could, gives you historically 8-9% every single year. Now, some years
Right.
are negative 20, like we experienced
Right.
last year, some are positive 30, but on average, I mean, if that's what you're doing by just saying, here's my money, and let me
Right.
sit back and focus on making an income and then having your income work equally hard for you, it's like that's how you get to being able to live wealthy. And it's a non-negotiable. Like I
Yeah.
always say, not paying our taxes is a non-negotiable item, but so
Hmm.
is saving for your future. Like it's
Right.
non-negotiable, ladies. So the best thing is especially if you have time, if you're younger than me, you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s, like money loves time more than money loves
Yes. Oh my
anything. And you
gosh.
just got to get it working for you. And I don't care
Absolutely.
how much debt you have. I don't care where you're at
Hmm.
financially. I think one thing that bonds us all together, like, don't let me ask you, I believe that the one thing that bonds us all is admitting our faults, our imperfections, our
Yes. Yes.
weaknesses.
It's the hard stuff. It's the vulnerability that bonds us. 1000%.
Correct. And it's like, you know what? I don't care how much debt people have. I want to help you. Like,
Right.
so, and your worth is about showing me your weakness. Like everyone
Right.
else can see it, right? But
Right.
like show me the stuff that you're not good at and be okay. That's how you build your worth too. You like
Yeah.
step into your I suck at this. Like I'm the most
Right.
impatient
Right.
person on the planet.
Yes.
So,
Same.
like yeah, and so like I have to own my weaknesses too
Yeah.
and feel
And
comfortable
it
with them.
actually is the most freeing thing on the
Oh,
planet
right?
when you step into what you are terrible at and
Yes.
you own it, because that also kind of gives you permission to shine the light on the things that are you're crushing, right? That I'm really good at this. And we laugh all the time in our house because it's such a small but poignant example is that I used to carry a lot of shame around not being in the kitchen and being a terrible cook because I come from a family of these amazing cooks, and every holiday everyone's, what are you bringing? Oh, I'm making this. And I would feel embarrassed and ashamed. I carried shame around it. And I finally stepped into this, like, just owning out loud, like, I I hate being in the kitchen.
Me
It's
too.
god awful. And
Horrible.
I will tell my daughter, like, that is like something I will always not want to do and not be good at. And we laugh about it. Like there's such a laughter around it. And I can say, but I will crush hosting Thanksgiving. Like I can
Eh,
host and bring in all the fancy things and set the table and make it this amazing experience. But you're not going to catch me in the kitchen.
oh, you and I, seriously, I think our mothers are the same. But you said yours wasn't alcoholic, mine was,
Right.
but maybe they're twins from a like
Right.
a different marriage or a different night out or whatever.
Right.
But
Right.
girl, I'm the same thing. So let's take this full circle for the audience. So what we're saying is that, you know, you're weak. We all have weaknesses,
Hmm.
but you surround yourself with people that are opposite. Like my
Yes.
husband, I don't know about you, my husband can cook and that's all he's done with
Yep.
our,
Yep.
like he is the kitchen guy.
Yeah.
And Thanksgiving, he cooks. I do the pretty cocktails and decorate
Yep.
the table. I do all that.
Hmm.
But the story of this is that like understand your weakness. Like don't try to like understand it. Don't try to fix it so much because you're always gonna suck at something.
Right.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
So like mine is impatient. So but I'm aware of it, how it's getting in the way of my
Yeah.
marriage, how it's getting in the way of being a mother, how
Hmm.
it's getting in the way of me being more successful at work. Like
Hmm.
I have to understand that
Yes.
weakness, but I hire around it in my marriage or
Right.
in my personal life,
Absolutely.
so I hire people around that. And that's how we become successful because nobody is successful on their own.
Right.
And
And we can't do it all. Nobody's good at everything. And I
we are
love that
not.
you just said
Yeah.
I hire around it, because
Yes.
when you can find those weaknesses, and I hate to even call them weaknesses, they're just not your strengths, right? And so
Right.
it's, here's the thing I'm bad at. So let me hire that in. And now everything's working amazing, right?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think it's so important. But I think that's part of, building your wealth and your worth is going, you know what? Nobody's perfect and it's celebrating. When you celebrate the
Hmm.
things you aren't good at. And when I say celebrate, it's like just being comfortable in your own skin,
Just
saying,
own it. Yeah,
God, this is
yeah.
how God made me. I'm okay
Yes,
with it.
yes,
I'm
yes.
going to hire around it or I'm going to
Yep.
marry around it and I'm going to move
Yes.
on, and make
Yeah.
fun of it and laugh and
Yes.
right. Like we're all human beings,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. And
it's
also flipping that switch to being grateful for the people instead of envious, right? Because that was a huge mental switch for me when I thought, well, thank God they're good at cooking. Otherwise, Thanksgiving and holidays would suck,
Yeah.
instead of
Right.
competing and feeling less than. And I
Mhm.
also remember that when I had toddlers, and one of my friends is like the ultimate Pinterest mom. And, there's all this competitiveness I feel that
Yeah.
goes on with women, especially when you first start
I
having
agree.
kids. And I would walk out of the house or her house, and I would just feel like the shame again. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not a good enough mom. I'm not doing that. I'm not making all the crafts and cute things. And then one day I thought, well, thank God for her, because my kids get to do all this stuff and I
Right.
don't have to do it because I don't
Yes.
want to do it. I'm not good at it. And it just shifts, it impacts your relationship so much.
It does. And in the same relationship you have with money,
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
when we compare our wealth to others, like when you're in your neighborhood and you're watching your neighbor drive
Mm,
that new car down the road, or you're like watching them do their home improvement projects. And, we all compare. But like in the book that I wrote about living wealthy, it's when you own your worth and you own all that is you, all aspects of you, your total well being,
mm.
that comparison it diminishes, and
Yes.
it stops being such a negative comparison where it's just like, oh, I actually love the fact that you have that Mercedes or
Yeah.
whatever you're driving. I don't really want it because I'm so aligned with
Yes.
me. I don't really
Yes.
care anymore. I
I
don't
mean,
care.
that's so huge. When you find your worth,
Hmm.
you you're not envious anymore. You're actually truly happy for other people's
Right.
successes and the things that you see going on in their life. And I always say, if there is a slight rub where you're like, oh, but I kind of do want that Mercedes, then that's also a gift, because
It
it's
is.
like, okay, let's work towards that. Let's put it
Yeah.
in the vision. Let's put it in the goals. Now I have something to work towards.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
when you can reframe your thinking around all of these things, everything changes.
It's just
Yeah.
that new perspective. And,
Yes.
and yes, if you want the Mercedes or you want the thing or you want the travel, you can have it too.
Right.
We're no different. We
Yeah.
just make different decisions in life. And that's
Yeah.
the decisions come from what? Again, our thinking.
Yeah.
So life is all about making really good decisions that are in aligned with yourself. And I think
Mhm.
so many times as women, we're like, we don't want to focus on ourselves because we're givers. We want to, like, if we're not cooking for our kids, which
Right.
my kids, I can't even make the macaroni and cheese. They're like,
I
Ma,
can't either. I
right?
know.
Horrible. But you know what? But I can take them out to lunch and have a great conversation about life with
Yes.
them. And
Yes.
I can take them to the nail salon and have laughs and,
Mhm.
and be the mother figure of teaching them how to
Yes.
live and how to
Yes.
think for themselves. That's the goal, right?
Yes.
But the point is that we just don't take enough time out to really own and understand and be self-aware of ourselves. And when we do
Mhm.
that though, then we're a really good version of us.
Yeah.
And then we're
Yeah.
like you, I can't wait to like, oh my God, where do you live? Like I
Yeah.
want to go
Are
have
you in
coffee.
Utah?
And
Are you in Utah?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, okay. I'm out in Scottsdale about once a year. So we're
Are
getting
you okay?
together. It's
We are.
happening.
But you know
Yes.
what I mean? Like we just want to embrace each other,
Yes.
embrace the
Yes.
audiences. Like it's like, oh my gosh, there's
Yes.
so much room for
It's
all of
the
us.
collaborative versus competitive.
Yeah,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Yes.
I just that's the one thing. It's like as someone who has helped people build up wealth for 23 years, the missing link was enjoying the wealth and
Yeah.
enjoying we're not just chasing another dollar to live a life maybe we don't want and maybe to pay more in tax dollars. Like we don't want
Yeah.
that, right? So
Yeah.
we want to be able to like chase a life that's really aligned with us.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're a better version to
Mm.
give to other people because it's not just about us. But
Right.
when you own
Right.
your worth,
Amen.
then you
Yeah.
absolutely give to other people. And that's the secret of life. It's living and
Yeah.
giving. It's not just about
Yes. I
me.
love that.
But
Living and giving.
yeah, so true.
Oh,
I
so
just
good.
love
So
human beings though. That I just
yes.
love humans and
Yes.
I
And you
love
see their
podcasts and
potential. You believe in their potential. Like, it is
oh,
so, I can just feel it coming through the screen. You
yes.
believe that anything is possible for anyone, right?
Yes,
And
100%.
that's absolutely what I believe. There's two things. One, I want to circle back to
Okay.
when we said, at what point do you, seek out
Yep.
advice from somebody on the outside? And something you said, it was so interesting. You said you work with people that have a lot of debt. And I think it's this crazy misconception that when I get out of debt and start saving money, then I'm going to go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that?
I think, I don't believe in no debt. I have
Hmm.
debt. I
Yeah, so
believe
do
in
we.
good debt. I have a big mortgage. It's only at 2.79%, but I believe
Yes.
in good debt, of
Yeah.
course. But we help people restructure their debt.
Yeah.
And get them on the right path. So it doesn't, you know, there's not a magic number. And if you just wait to
Yeah. You should
like
just never wait. You should never wait.
you can't wait. You
You
can't wait.
can't.
And you don't, and I've seen everything. I did a call with a woman a month ago that had $80,000 in debt. I'm like, well, here are our choices. It's either
Yeah.
A or B. And we went down the path for 45
Hmm.
minutes and we made a decision to do a debt consolidation program, which saved her, I think, her and her husband, $900 a month. And so
Wow.
then it's like, we're, taking that $900 and then we're saving taxes and then we're putting
Yeah.
that money away for them.
Yeah.
It's about getting through the emotion first,
Hmm.
right? Of
Hmm.
where are you at? Like nothing's a surprise anymore. Money's hard for people,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like, but just like laying it down and going, okay, here's how we fix it. Because
Yeah.
the fix is easy.
Right.
The
Right.
how you fix and do a financial plan, and it's technical. It's easy for someone who's done it for 23 years, but
Yeah.
it's the harder part is just saying, hey, I'm ready to
Absolutely.
do this.
Yeah.
But the technical advice, like everybody, you know, everybody should have a diversified portfolio without
Hmm.
paying huge investment fees. You should be, figuring out how to minimize your taxes from a not just a income level, but from an investment level. So many
Yeah.
times people don't even realize like how when they make a decision over here with their income and when to collect their
Right.
income and when to like how that impacts their future social security and their
Hmm.
withdrawals from their IRAs. It's like the IRS doesn't want you to know the
Right.
tax,
Right.
and so
Absolutely.
you need to hire a professional,
That wants you to know.
right, that wants you to know because paying someone like me, it usually costs about 1% of the portfolio value
Yeah.
or, and the value anyone can Google this. Go to like a Vanguard or Fidelity and Google this, but you can find out that like an advisor should give you 3% back in value. So
Right.
hiring someone like me,
Right. It saves you
we
money
it
right
saves
off
you
the bat.
money, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
okay,
It's a
yeah.
no-brainer.
It's
Yeah,
so
it is a
it's a beautiful
no-brainer.
it's a beautiful business to be in. But I don't
Yeah.
but to circle back, the time don't wait for your debt to be paid
Yeah.
down. Cuz
Yeah.
sometimes you can wrap it up in good debt,
Right.
like
Right.
refinance
You're
it
going to
in your
get there
house.
faster. Yeah, you're
You
going to
we,
get there so much faster.
well, and we've all seen how our house prices have increased, right? Over the
Crazy.
last couple
Yeah.
years. So it's like there's equity in people's homes that they can
Yeah.
refinance some of their old, their bad debt and turn it into good debt. And there's just so many things you can do except paying that effing interest on your credit cards,
Yes. Oh
right?
my gosh.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Or
Yes.
medical bills. Like
Yeah.
there's negotiation that needs to happen. There's
Yeah.
stuff. We just need to we just need to face it. And
Yeah.
once you face it and it's just like, oh, just
Yeah.
suddenly you feel
Yes.
better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's the last thing I want to ask you, and it's kind
Okay.
of just a basic general question, but I think it's something people rub up against every day because I rub up against this. So
Okay.
I have more than enough to do whatever, not whatever I want, but pretty much what I want to do. And I feel, and it's interesting because it's like when you start to notice and you're aware of the thought, then you can control the emotion. So it's this
Mhm.
awareness, but I'm like, how do I get that to not come up anymore? So it's like this almost as a little seed of guilt, like, oh, I shouldn't be purchasing this or I shouldn't be spending this much when I know from a financial standpoint, I can go spend it if I want to spend it. So how do you help people just kind of in that everyday, day to day, repattern that for themselves?
I would say it's no different than how you repattern, your daily exercise with your brain. You just need to add
Yeah.
the dollar to it. The
Yeah.
money. Bring in, if you're journaling, if you're meditating, if you're getting ready in the morning and you're doing your affirmations in your mirror, you need to just say, I have enough money. And
Hmm.
I have a guilt free relationship with money. And I know how much I have. And if I'm going to go buy those Valentino shoes
Yeah.
or whatever you're buying, like I know it's okay. And I
Yeah.
think I think some of it is the talk, the psychology around it. I think
Yeah.
the other thing is like when you have an advisor and you have a plan, like
Right.
you,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. I think so many times people don't take the time to know.
Yeah, because and
Like,
that's where I think a lot for most people, the fear comes up because they don't really know, just like you're saying,
yeah,
should I be buying these Valentinos or should I be saving this or what should I be
right.
doing with this? And that can get just really cloudy for people.
So, what I always tell people again, the non negotiable paying your taxes and saving for your future. So, whether when I say saving for your future, it's putting a percentage,
Mhm.
10, 15%, even if it's five, like put
Yeah.
a percentage of your gross income away at the very beginning. I guarantee you, you will never miss it. You won't even
Right.
know.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just
So,
got to do it first.
so
Yeah.
then you have your what I call the real net income. And then what I do, I hate budgets, but what we do is we have buckets
Yeah.
of money that you can spend in. Like there's a debt bucket, there's a spending bucket, there's a household bucket, and that spending is in alignment with your core values that you said
Mhm.
about earlier.
Mhm.
And there's a charity like giving bucket too. So
Yeah.
there's these four buckets. So let's say I allow people to take 35% of their after tax, after saving income and put it into their core bucket, their core value bucket where
Yeah.
they can spend on whatever they want.
Yeah.
So if it's the Valentino shoes, then great, go do it. But guess what?
Yeah.
You can't do the shoes and the trip in the same month,
Right, right,
you know?
right.
And so
And
it's like,
that's you're right. That's where it feels
yeah.
really good because you're almost saying, I'm supposed to spend this money. This is what I've
Hmm.
allotted it for. How
Yes.
am I choosing to spend it? Because I think we are spending so unconsciously. I
I agree.
think
Yeah.
especially with the swipe ups and the quick little things on, everywhere,
Hmm.
left and right, every time we turn, it's like we're spending so unconsciously. And I think even if you have it to spend, if it's coming from an unconscious place, it doesn't really feel good, right? There has to
Right.
be intention. And, this sounds silly, but I can remember like some monthly, weekly bills that I've just that are in my life. And sometimes I started to become aware of the thought that there was a little resentment, right? Like, oh, to pay this person, I have to pay this person, I have to. And all I did was switch the language in my mind. Like I knew it was a trigger, right? Like the
Mhm.
second I had to click the button on a consistent weekly basis or monthly basis, that was a trigger for me. And so now I just say to myself silently, because I get to, because
Mhm.
I can,
Mhm.
and it
Mhm.
just shifts that. And that thought of, and I can, and you're always blessing by giving money, whether you're spending or whether you're paying someone, that is always going out to the world. And it comes now from this place of because I can, because I
Mhm.
get to, and
Mhm.
I get to bless them, or I get to make this purchase that goes into a company with lots of employees. I do think sometimes we have to take it there in order to feel good about what we're
Yes,
spending
right.
on.
It's shifting that perspective, but it's also like knowing, you know, only 12 times a year, once a month, that you kind of look at that,
Mhm.
your 35% and once a month going, did I ooh, if I overspent, then
Yeah.
that means next month it's a little bit lighter. We're dining in versus, I'm not
Right.
right. It's just about the awareness piece. And it
Yes.
doesn't have to be every day. Like we don't be tracking our pennies. We're not tracking our like don't go to Starbucks. That stuff doesn't
Right.
matter. What matters is that you're keep on focusing on the things that move the needle the most, which is
Mhm.
increasing your income and
Mhm.
increasing your investments. Like those are the
Yes.
two big movers in our life. And I always say for we're an income building machine, right? and
Yeah.
and we're limitless if you think about it.
Yeah.
And so I always say, like, you're going to make the most amount of money when you're operating in your
Mm.
top five strengths. Like
Yes.
you're going to make the most amount of money, and then you spend your money in alignment with the things that you value. And so
I love that.
when you make money with your strengths and you spend money on your
Oh,
values, then
life is good.
life becomes more like, ooh, when I started like practicing this with my clients and myself, like I stopped worrying so much about money.
Yeah.
Cause even when my income was, I mean, 5 times bigger than what I ever thought it was, it was like, oh, I'm scared of the credit card
Right. Right.
statement.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I got to do this. I got to change the way I'm thinking about this.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
having a plan, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
having this bucket, these, like a very fluid plan that
Yeah.
allows me not to feel guilty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing because money's like oxygen and we need it so desperately to like live.
Yeah.
But we need that. We need to spend more time in a positive relationship with it where it
Yes.
is enough than like feeling like we only have this dollar.
Yeah. And I really believe that when we are consumed by fear around money, there is little chance that we will earn more. You know,
Oh, yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
your income growth is going to come from that shift in, just like you said, not only your worth, but just your relationship with money. I
Yeah.
had this great story talking about worth with one of my best friends who is a super high-end event travel planner. And I was listening to a Mel Robbins podcast. And so this is straight from Mel. And she said, she was talking about money and how much she was getting paid to speak. And she said that somebody once told her that, when she would go to the people and say, well, how much, how much are, or they would ask her, how much do you charge? And they would say, oh, we're paying $5,000, whatever, for our keynote speakers. She would go, oh, I'm normally double. And they would normally say, well, okay. And, she just always said double, no matter what the figure was.
Love Mel,
Yes,
right?
yes. And I
Yes.
was talking to one of my girlfriends, and we had this conversation on the phone. We were kind of just laughing about it. And then she went right into a meeting. And they said, well, we were planning on paying you X. And she said, I'm normally double. And this is a person that is confident and knows her worth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they looked at her and said, okay, then I guess that's what we'll pay you.
Yeah. It's just money.
It's just
Money
money. It's
it's just
energy.
money. It
Yes.
is
Yes.
energy and we all deserve it and we need to get over the fact that we feel like we don't.
Right. Yeah.
And we do deserve it and it is money. And you know what? We deserve it. Why? Why do we all want more money? Because we want more life. We want more
Yeah.
fulfillment.
Yeah.
We want to be free and secure at
Free.
the same time. Like it's like of course we want more money. And I always say go in for that ask like you were just talking about
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable for maybe 5 minutes
Right.
versus being uncomfortable for the rest of your like the
Right.
rest of the year where you're like oh damn it I didn't get paid what I was worth.
Right. Right.
No. Upgrade your plane seat. Ask
Yes.
for more. And not just do that, but focus on you so you can earn more too. And your
Yes.
money can earn more.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
that whole circle of success is what
Mm-hmm.
allows people to be able to live wealthy. And that's so
Yes.
important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, Dawn, this conversation, I've loved every second of it. I want
Me
to hear
too.
more about the book though. When is it launching? Where can we find it? I will make sure I link everything in the show notes for everybody, but tell us more
Yes.
about that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that because I'm telling you, this writing a book during COVID, it's
Oh,
a 3-year process. So
oh
the
my
fact that I
gosh.
have it
The hard
sitting
copy.
right
That
here makes me just
amazing.
like, yeah. So 3 years ago, I mean, that's how long it took. But
Wow.
the publication date is April 11th, so right around the corner.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's on my website too. And it's a book that's designed to get you on the right path so you can live in wholeness and live.
Yeah.
It's helping you create a new version of wealth, which is
Mm-hmm.
like we talked about today. It's wealth that's enough. It's wealth that aligns to your values and
Yes.
wealth that never compares.
Oh,
So
so good.
get your copy because when we pay it forward to
Yes.
people, it's really when this whole earth becomes magical.
Oh, I love it. Well, I'm buying 20 copies and giving
You're
them
so,
to everyone. So
well, I love
there's
you.
that.
I
Oh,
cannot
I adore you. This has been
seriously.
amazing. I
It's
can't
been
wait to
amazing.
spend time together. And
Yes.
truly, I feel like everyone listening needs to look you up and hire you and use your services because
Thank
like
you.
you said, people, you can't wait. You
Mhm.
can't wait on this, and every day and every week and every month that slips by without having some type of advisor in your life is money lost,
Yeah.
really. So I
Yes.
want to just encourage everybody to go look you up and get plugged into your resources, get the book,
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you.
Dawn, thank you again for
My
being here.
pleasure. Thank you.